Juggernaut.
No one like a duty fighter like you did. No one like it running gunning like you did. No one like it puzzle problem like you did. Along with just my four-star model, cause I put it back that 4 hours on the edge of the boat. That was my only friend with a heavy machine gun in my hand. That beat me over and over again. 32 bits of endless wonder, 1990 revolution.
Hello, welcome to my top 50 SNK Neo-Geo games. The rules for this list are really simple. It's still going to be a fun game to play today. These are my personal top 50 games. Your opinion may vary. You know, everybody's got their different favourite games. Here are mine. Here we go. Let's start with number 50, Robo Army. And this is a game I never played up until making this video. Rather interesting little side-scrolling beat-em-up where your character can morph into a vehicle. But the vehicle doesn't have weapons, you just run people over, as well as punch them. Number 49, 8-Man. And sticking with the converting into different things and punching people theme, 8-Man is a great superhero side-scrolling action beat-em-up game. Fast, frenetic, really nice to look at. Very good, if underrated title. Number 48, Ninja Masters. This is a game where you have weapons that you can opt to use throughout the match. You can pull it out whenever you want, and you can slap people in the face with it. Really cool, nice combo system, great fun. Number 47, Spin Master, a cartoony action side-scrolling platform game where you use a yo-yo as the protagonist's main weapon. It's got lovely animation, great graphics, decent use of sound, and an interesting level layout. Number 46, Galaxy Fight is a visually striking one-on-one fighting game where you use futuristic weaponry as well as fists and feet to pummel your opponent into submission. Number 45, Neo Drift Out, an isometric pre-rendered rally game with a high difficulty curve, a high sense of speed, a high level of graphic integrity for the Neo-Geo, and a high quality game all the way around. Really good fun once you get the hang of the controls. Number 44, Twinkle Star Sprites, an interesting take on the shmup genre. This is a versus shmup where you shoot an enemy on your side of the screen and it gets translated to the enemy's side of the screen. The idea is to knock the living pants out of your opponent by killing them and staying alive. Number 43, League Bowling. They say that sometimes the simplest concepts make the greatest games, and this is a great example. League Bowling keeps you coming back for more with its pretty interesting graphical style and its smooth, silky, simplistic gameplay. Number 42, Aero Fighters 2, also known as Sonic Wings 2, has a rather interesting array of enemies to shoot. It's a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up with a high difficulty curve. Keeps you interested all the way from start to finish. Number 41, Kyoto! It's Puzzle Bobble 2, also known as Buster Move again, a match 3 puzzle game where you have to pop bubbles of the same colour to clear them off the screen. However, in Puzzle Bobble, you can bounce your bubbles off the walls and off the ceiling. Highly addictive. Number 40, Nightmare in the Dark, and at first glance this looks like a Snow Brothers stroke Bobble clone, and it kinda is. However, it's got an amazing art direction and it adds nuances to the gameplay like a combo system for hitting multiple enemies at once. Awesomely fun game and is unique for the Neo-Geo. Number 39, Breakers and Breakers Revenge. Another one-on-one fighting game, who'd have thought, for the Neo-Geo. This one's got some very cool combos, it's got some great character design, and it's got some humorous background effects, like this jumping monk. Number 38, The Art of Fighting 2, takes everything from the original game, the big beautiful sprites, the scaling in and out for the proximity that you are to the enemy, and the bruising and the battering of opponents' faces, and just tightens up the gameplay. Just neatens it up. Can't ask for more. Number 37, Strikers 1945 Plus, a highly difficult vertical shmup, which is a genre that Neo-Geo is known for, along with one-on-one fighting games. Strikers 1945 is one of the most popular of the genre on the system. It adds a charge shot system and multiple power-ups. 36. Ninja Commando. What's this? Another vertically scrolling shmup? Yes, this time with added ninjas. What can you ask for? You kill people with shuriken, you explode things, you go up the screen. What else do you need? What else? Or maybe you want some doggy style. Power Instinct Metro Melee is a one-on-one fighting game with crazy weird characters, including this man-dog hybrid thing. There's a granny that throws her teeth at enemies. You've got some cameo characters from Rage of the Dragons, which we'll hear more about later. It's generally freaking insane. And another insanely good one-on-one fighter is number 34, Fatal Fury Special, also known as Gru Densetsu Special, is a multi-tiered fighting game where you can jump into the foreground and the background. It's got a wide array of interesting and varied characters, and it has a robust fighting mechanics system. Number 33, Samurai Showdown 5, also Samurai Showdown Special, may not have as robust a fighting system as something like Fatal Fury Special does, but it more than makes up with it in style, panache, giganto sprites, and violence. Yes, you have insta-death moves like this one I've just demonstrated for you. 32. The King of Fighters 95. It's beautiful. It takes the original King of Fighters 94 game, tightens up the controls, redesigns some of the graphics, adds a whole array of new characters, and an ability to edit your teams. KOF 95 is awesome. Number 31, Real Belt Fatal Fury Special adds some new mechanics to the Fatal Fury series, including a 3-tier oversway system, destructible arenas, and ring outs. Real Belt improved graphics, animations, sound, mechanics. It is a masterclass and it's criminally overlooked. Number 30, Super Sidekicks 2. High octane, fast paced arcade football at some of its finest. Undoubtedly, the Super Sidekicks games are some of the finest football games of this style available on any system, let alone an arcade machine. Number 29, Fatal Fury 3 Road to the Final Victory, also known as Garyu Densetsu 3, adds a 3-level fighting layout so you can swing to the foreground and the background. You swing around your opponent, dodge their incoming projectile attacks, and make a counter of your own. The added tactical abilities that this 3-tier system brought to the table are fantastic, and the new characters are really cool. They're all really cool in Fatal Fury 3. Number 28, Super Sidekicks 4, the Ultimate 11 SNK Football Championship. Basically takes the Super Sidekicks games that we know and love, gives them a fresh lick of paint with an almost pre-rendered chunky look to them, adds some new mechanics and some new passing methods between your players, and some amazing goal celebrations. Wait, did that guy just give the finger to the other manager? Number 27, proving that vertical shmups are the SNK's second massive string on their bow. Shock Troopers is a wonderfully animated, high-intensity vertical shmup. Everything that the SNK Neo-Geo is renowned for is here in spades. It's got the arcade-style, big, chunky, beautiful, bright, colourful visuals, and a mean game to back them up. Number 26, Battle Flip Shot. Basically, it's Pong, okay? It's Pong. But it's Pong with a new lick of paint and a slight tweak to the gameplay. The idea is that you must destroy and eviscerate the icons that are hiding behind your opponent's bat, which is a shield, and you can do this in several ways. You've got special abilities that can disorient or immobilize your opponent temporarily. This is white knuckle gaming between friends at some of its finest, and I believe it's only available for Neo-Geo. Number 25, Windjammers is a very similar concept to the game previously shown, the Battle Flip Shot. However, Windjammers takes a more summer sport aesthetic with it. It's more pure because the whole idea of Windjammers is just get the discus past your opponent. You don't have to worry about smashing little avatars or icons behind them. All that you got to do is beat the other guy. I kind of prefer that simplicity. Number 24, Waku Waku 7 stands out from the absolutely freaking massive crowd of one-on-one fighting games with its beautiful visuals, beautiful character design, and beautiful animation. It's crazy. It's absolutely batshit crazy. The game doesn't take itself seriously, but if you take the game seriously, there are some really cool combo systems in place. Waku Waku 7 is an absolute essential, in my opinion. Number 23, Shock Troopers Second Squad changes the format of the original game slightly by adding these big, chunky, pre-rendered style visuals and adds an isometric viewpoint instead of the original's verticality. But I kind of prefer it. It's more intense. There seems to be a lot more enemies on screen at once. The difficulty has ramped up. You're dodging bullets left, right and centre, and it will keep you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Number 22, The Last Blade is a great argument for games as art. Just one look at the visuals on this game and you can see that it looks like it's just been ripped out of an anime. The gameplay matches the graphic fidelity too. You've got counter systems, combo systems, you've got advantageous moves where you can knock an opponent's weapon out of their hand temporarily. It's just the whole package. The Last Blade is essential. Number 21, Real Belt Fatal Fury 2, much like the earlier game we saw earlier in the list, is criminally underrated. Real Belt Fatal Fury 2 reduces the 3-tier system seen in the previous game back to a 2-tier system. However, the amount of tactical options that those 2 tiers bring you has increased by a multitude. This is one of the most tactical, interesting and inventive fighting games that there is available on the Neo-Geo. Number 20, Rage of the Dragons was originally going to be a Double Dragon fighting game. However, the license was lost at the last minute. However, there are a homage to Double Dragon in the form of Billy, Jimmy and Abobo as playable characters in the game. It's a tag team fighter with this overcharge system where at certain points in the match you can use your special bar to release a pre-canned combo by tapping a series of button presses. This, in combination with regular combos and manual combos, makes Rage of the Dragon stand out in a field filled with fighting games. Number 19, SNK vs Capcom Chaos, and if you'd have told me in 1993-1994 that these two powerhouses of 2D fighting games would come together to make a fantastic fighting game with all of their characters put together, I would have said you're full of shit. However, this was released. This is an amalgamation of some of the greatest fighting game characters in the history of all video gaming, putting together in this tight SNK fighting style package. It sits somewhere between a King of Fighters game and a Samurai Showdown game in terms of the way it plays, in terms of speed, combos, etc. But it's so novel because you get to play Ryu versus Terry. Number 18, Samurai Showdown 2. Many people deem this to be the best game in the series. Many deem this to be one of the best games for the Neo Geo, me included. Some people even think it's the best game for the Neo Geo, which I would slightly disagree with. However, you can't deny how graphically stylish this game is. It's a one-hit can change the course of battle style game. It's slow, well thought out fighting, can be absolutely intense. It's a chess match between fighters, and you really feel that tension every step of the way when you play Samurai Showdown 2. Number 17, Metal Slug 2 and Metal Slug X. I put these two together because Metal Slug X is basically a refinement of the Metal Slug 2 game. Metal Slug 2 is an amazing side-scrolling action platformer run-and-gun game with incredibly amazing, awesome hand-drawn graphics. It's one of the most visually striking games on the Neo Geo. Metal Slug is one of the greatest series on the Neo Geo, and Metal Slug 2 is one of the best games of the entire set of Metal Slug games. It's absolutely incredible. The animation is second to none. This made console gamers that didn't own a Neo Geo jealous. Number 16, The King of Fighters 97. After 96's slight mishap, where they focused more on graphics and over mechanics, King of Fighters 97 came out swinging. It had all of the graphical refinements that KOF 96 had, as well as a perfected fighting system. There are new combos, new moves for every character, new layouts, new special attacks, and it just feels much tighter than all of the previous King of Fighters games up to this point. It also added Yamazaki from Fatal Fury 3 as a playable character for the first time. Number 15, The King of Fighters 99. King of Fighters 99 is the first King of Fighters game that used the striker system. So not only did you select your tag team of 3 main characters, you picked a 4th character that you would use as a striker. Now this striker can be used for evasive techniques, for support techniques. Basically you call him on screen whenever you need them, and they will attack the enemy or protect you in some way, shape or form. Each striker had its own abilities and its own amount of charges that you could use that character for, and this combination of the striker system plus the renowned tag fighting and the new characters added for this rendition of King of Fighters makes 99 a solid entry in the series. Number 14, Baseball Stars 2. I hate baseball. Well, I don't hate it, I just found it boring. Baseball Stars 2 does not have that problem. Baseball Stars 2 is, in my opinion, the greatest baseball game that has ever graced any system in the history of video games. It's fast, it's frenetic, it's great to look at, it's entertaining, it's just awesome. It's awesome. The computer is fair but hard to beat. Multiplayer is second to none. You've got power-up systems that you can use to get pinch hitters and relief pitches and all this other crazy stuff, and its core gameplay is solid and spectacularly fun. Number 13, The King of Fighters 2000, the last King of Fighters game that SNK made before their bankruptcy. This takes the concept of the striker system from 99 and changes it slightly, so now you can keep the striker as you did in 99, or you can integrate the striker as a 4th tag team fighter. However, this fighter is very weak and that leaves you susceptible for counterattacks. That isn't the main draw of this game though. The main draw is the character roster and the attention to detail in the backdrops. Just look at these visuals. Look at Terry and Takuma's feet as they enter and leave the water. Little touches like that make King of the Fighters just leap out of the screen. Number 12, R-Type. No, wait, no. What do you mean it's not R-Type? Oh, it's Polestar, a pre-rendered rip-off. No, not rip-off, I mean homage to R-Type. Basically, this is R-Type for the Neo-Geo with awesomer graphics. Is awesomer a word? Is this a rip-off? I don't know. I don't care. All that I know is Polestar kicks ass. It's got an extremely high difficulty level though, so be warned, it will hand you your ass on multiple occasions, even on the default difficulty setting. This is one that you have to practice and practice and practice to perfect, and you will love every second while you do that. Number 11, The King of Fighters 2003, a controversial choice. Not a lot of people appreciate 2003, but for me, I love it. It takes the new style Terry Bogard as one of my favourite characters for a start, but the main draw of King of the Fighters 2003 is the tag team system. So for the first time in the history of the King of Fighters games, you can tag in and out between your tag players at any given time. You don't have to lose a match before the second player jumps in. You can literally chop and change and switcheroo between all 3 players whenever you wish. This adds a multitude of new strategies, and it just feels tighter. There's less delay in between rounds. It just feels great. As does Z-Blade at number 10. Z-Blade for me, while it may be one of the earlier SNK Neo-Geo titles, is just a wonderful game. It's one of those games that you can one credit clear without too much work, but you have a great time from start to finish, learning the enemies, learning their patterns. You get to listen to these awesome soundtracks in the background. It's got clear, if not amazing graphics. They're functional. Think of the Neo-Geo as a posh restaurant with a whole slew of posh foods to eat. And Z-Blade is a greasy cheeseburger on that menu. Sometimes you don't want fancy, you just want fun. But if you do want fancy and delicious and a work of art, then you can do no wrong with The Last Blade 2. Much like the original game, The Last Blade 2 is a work of visual art. The animation of the foreground and the characters and the background are just beautiful. I would say this is the most fantastic looking game on the entire Neo-Geo platform. And it plays well to back it up also. It's one of the finest weapon-based fighting games on any 16-bit system. And the Neo-Geo is just a perfect home for a game as high a quality as The Last Blade 2 is. It's such a shame we've never seen The Last Blade 3. Bring it on. I will be right there front and centre waiting for it. Number 8, Blazing Star, one of my personal favourite pre-rendered side-scrolling shmup games on the Neo-Geo. I love to get my hands on my bonus, and this game just makes you feel good the more you play it. It rewards you by just surviving, essentially. You've got these amazing wildfire style bullet patterns that you have to dodge through. You feel like a badass because your bullets are huge compared to the size of your ship. There's a high challenge on this game, lots of bonuses, lots of freebies that you get to pick up in the form of power-ups that make your ship even more badass. You've got multipliers, you've got a scoring system that is simple yet complex. You can learn as you go, you can start with the basics and work your way up to get to the top of those leaderboards. Oh, and it ridicules you if you suck. Number 7, Metal Slug, the birth of the king of run and gun shoot-'em-ups. Yes, in my opinion, this is better even than the Contra series on the Super Nintendo. Metal Slug is a hand-drawn, hand-animated, amazingly intense side-scrolling run and gun. The animation is incredible and it's eye-popping. It really stands out amongst the crowd. Metal Slug's gameplay backs up this visual fidelity with intense firefights. The amount of enemies that get thrown on your screen slows down the machine, and the Neo-Geo is a powerhouse. To slow down that bad boy takes quite some doing. Metal Slug does it on a random occasion, quite frequently. That's because this game is just insane. The entire series of Metal Slug games are insanely cool. You can't go wrong with any of them. And we're going to swap lead for iron with our number 6, which is Neo Turf Masters, also known as Big Tournament Golf. I love arcade style golf games. I'm not a fan of simulations. However, Neo Turf Masters is the perfect blend of an arcade style golf game with kind of sensibilities of a simulation. Neo Turf Masters just feels right. The graphics look incredible. They look like a mixture between digitized sprites and hand-drawn. I'm not quite sure the method they use to actually show those graphics on screen. However, what I do know is that everything feels as it should. The way that the putts move, the way that you swing with your gauge feels right. The visuals in between courses look right. It's just fun. It's how a golf game should be. It's fun, it's light-hearted, and it's smooth to play. Number 5, Sengoku 3 is one of the greatest side-scrolling beat-em-ups ever made. It's right up there with Streets of Rage 2 and 3 and Final Fight and all of those other games you know and love that are near and dear to your hearts. Chances are you've never played Sengoku 3. Rectify that, please. Sengoku 3 has a wide array of enemies that you get to beat up. It's got a really cool, in-depth combo system that you can use to inflict multiple hits upon multiple enemies. You've got unlockable characters. It's just a complete package. Sengoku 3 is awesome. Number 4, The King of Fighters 98, the first dream match, quote-unquote, fighting game in the King of Fighters series. They call it a dream match because some of the characters that have died in the previous games have come back to life for this particular game, and they ignore the storyline from the past few games. So therefore you have all of the Orochi characters, Rugal is available for play, and it's just awesome. The roster of fighters is second to none, and this game is still so popular that SNK re-released it on the PlayStation 3 and on Xbox 360 and on Steam. They released it as an Ultimate Match version. People still play this regularly to this very day. King of the Fighters is such a robust fighting game, it's just a classic. And speaking of classics, Metal Slug 3. Without a doubt, in my opinion, the finest Metal Slug game in the series, which means it's probably the finest side-scrolling run-and-gun game ever made. Metal Slug 3's king of the crop because it has so much attention to detail. Every frame of animation in this game oozes character and style and class. Every corner has something hidden to marvel at and to experience for the first time, like for example this elephant slug or this submarine slug, which you can find in hidden areas throughout the game. Branching paths, multiple characters, intense shooting. It's just one of the greatest side-scrolling games ever released, and I love Metal Slug 3. I absolutely implore you, if you only play one Metal Slug game, please check out Metal Slug 3. Number 2, The King of Fighters 2002 was a return to form for SNK after King of Fighters 2001, which was released after SNK went bankrupt. KOF 2001 was a rush job. KOF 2002 made up for 2001 and then some. This is the second quote-unquote dream match game of the King of Fighters games. Basically that means that it ignores the storyline and just bolsters on a massive roster of characters from previous games, adds some new ones into the mix, ignores the story and just focuses on being a kick-ass fighting game. And this does that and then some. It's got an unmatched portfolio of fighters, and it's got an unmatched portfolio of different fighting systems as well. You can choose multiple systems through the game to fit your playstyle. And that's what I love about KOF 2002. It's so versatile, you can play it any way you want it, but no matter which way you play it, it will feel amazing. Anyway, we've gone through 49 of my top 50 Neo-Geo games. Before I reveal number 1, here's a few honourable mentions. Okay, great, we've gone through 49 of my top 50 Neo-Geo games, and we've gone through the honourable mentions. There's only space for one more game on the list, and that game is my number 1, Garou Mark of the Wolves, which is also known as Fatal Fury 4. What an amazing fighting game this is. It's probably the second best 2D fighting game ever made, beaten only by Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Set way after the events of Fatal Fury 3, Terry Bogard and his protege Rock Howard, who was the son of Geese Howard from the earlier games, basically fight a huge, diverse range of various characters, including Mr. Butt, as you see on this video here. But there are so many different styles of fighting. There's so many different systems that you can put in place. One of the most interesting things that Garou brings is the top system. So basically, this top system allows you to select a portion of your health bar where you get superpowers. It could be you've got extra power, extra strength, extra speed, your health gets reduced slower, but depending on the character that you pick and where you put your top system can completely change the outcome of a fight. If you put your top system at the beginning, you want to be aggressive. However, if you put your top system to help you defend your final slivers of health, it will really help you turtle up and counter-attack an aggressive enemy. The top system is phenomenal. The fighting mechanics in the game in general are phenomenal. The character selection is phenomenal. Even though it's not got a huge roster of fighters, each one has its own unique style and is perfectly balanced against the other fighters in the game. Garou Mark of the Wolves is just fan-freaking-tastic. If you own a Neo Geo, you've got to have this game. And that concludes my top 15 Neo Geo games list. If you like this, please subscribe and then touch my bell end, the little icon you see there in the center of your screen. Look for that down by the subscribe button, touch my bell end, and you will be notified when I release my next video. Follow me on social media and consider supporting me on Patreon. Bye for now.